Please welcome Corporate Vice President, Business Applications and Agents Marketing, Bryan Goode.
Hello everybody, my name is Bryan Goode. I lead the Business Applications and Agents team here at Microsoft. I joined the company in 2003. And since being with Microsoft, I've been part of some pretty big transitions. The move from on-premise to cloud, that was certainly a big one. The launch of Microsoft Teams, boy, we thought that was a big one too. But nothing compares to the transformation that we're in right now with the transformation of AI and agents. And if I think back a year ago, when I was here on stage at Ignite, the pace isn't slowing down. In fact, it's only speeding up. It's a really exciting time. Now, I'd like to start today with a big idea. And this is a big idea that I call intelligence on tap. If you think about intelligence, it used to be scarce and expensive. But today, it's abundant. It's infinitely scalable. It's on demand. It's almost like a new commodity, very similar to electricity. And it's going to power our businesses, and it's going to change the way that we work. But this isn't just an idea. It's actually happening in practice. Agents are entering the workforce and becoming mainstream. In fact, IDC tells us that they expect over 1.3 billion agents to be in the workforce by 2028. These agents are going to run the gamut from simple RAG-based agents to sophisticated, fully autonomous agents that do work on our behalf. One thing is clear to me, the agentic shift, it's here. Now, as you saw in the keynote yesterday, we talk about this notion of frontier firms. These are companies that are built with AI at the core. They're using AI to reinvent employee experience, customer engagement, and business process. What I think is most interesting about these frontier firms, though, is they're really a living lab where we can learn what's to come with regards to AI adoption. And as I've studied these frontier firms, I'll say I've found three core patterns. The first is frontier firms put AI to work to supercharge productivity by arming every employee with an AI assistant. That's the first core pattern. The second pattern is they drive process improvement with agents that act almost like AI teammates. And the third pattern, well, it's rethinking business functions from first principles in a human-led, agent-operated way. So those are the three core patterns we see consistently from these frontier firms. In addition to the patterns, I've seen some different adoption flows from these frontier firms. And the two things that I see, of course, you expect tops-down adoption, strategic, leadership-driven innovation. But we also see bottoms-up adoption, grassroots adoption, and innovation by every employee. And after all, that makes sense because most employees are the ones that are closest to the processes inside your organization that work and those that don't. So I'd like to start today by showing how every employee can use and start to create agents for themselves. And as you'd probably expect, it really starts with Microsoft 365 Copilot. This is where the everyday employee is going to experience AI and agents in the flow of work. Copilot's grounded on Work IQ, and it comes with pre-built agents to help you get started quickly. These are agents like Researcher or Analyst, or new ones like App Builder or the Workflows agent. So let's see one of these in action. Go ahead and roll the video.
The Workflows agent lets you automate tasks by describing what you want to accomplish in everyday language. We're creating a flow that replies to bug reports and sends a summary to you. The agent understands the prompt and starts building the automation instantly. It connects automatically to services such as Outlook and Teams. You can see a full overview of your flow as it's created. The Workflows agent adds steps to reply to the sender and provides a summary highlighting key details. Need to make a change? The Workflows agent updates the flow in real time. Now it will send the bug summary to your dev team, keeping everyone aligned and informed. In just a few steps, you've built a complete automation. Now you can test the flow. In the test view, each step runs instantly as designed. The flow responds to any incoming email with the subject, bug, and notifies your dev team and teams. You can track every run in the Activity tab and be confident it's working. From idea to automation in under a minute, the Workflows agent makes it simple.
So we announced the Workflows agent just 2 weeks ago. And I've already started to get great value from it myself as I use it inside Microsoft. I've used it to set up a workflow to notify me when I get emails from important stakeholders within the company. The possibilities with it are limitless. Now, beyond the first-party agents, those that Microsoft delivers, we also have a host of third-party agents from hundreds of partners that are building agents for Microsoft 365 Copilot. All these agents are available right in the agent store. For example, Adobe built a marketing agent that enables broad, safe content generation. We also have agents from SAP, ServiceNow, Gong, and hundreds of others, all bringing the power of agents right into Microsoft 365 Copilot. But I know, and this is where things get interesting, that every organization is a little bit different. And sometimes you're going to need to build your own agents. So we've made building an agent as simple as creating a spreadsheet. Agent Builder, it's integrated directly into Microsoft 365 Copilot, and it's so easy to use. You simply describe the agent that you're looking for, configure it, and within minutes, you can start using it and sharing it. I think of Agent Builder a little bit like a cutting board in my kitchen. It's where you bring together all the raw ingredients and turn it into something really special. I've used Agent Builder to prepare for customer meetings. I built an agent that is grounded on my work data as well as public web data so that I'm always ready before I meet with the customer. But enough talk. I think we should show you how easy it is to actually create one of these agents with Microsoft 365 Copilot. And so I'd like to welcome Aghogho to the stage to show us how it's done. Aghogho.
Thanks, Brian. In the finance world, information moves fast, and there is so much to keep track of. Imagine I'm a frontier financial advisor, and I have a large client, Northwind Traders. For large, complex clients like them, we have several advisors collaborating, from tax to estate planners, each managing their piece of the portfolio. Before agents, we spent several hours just searching for information, trying to stay up to date on our client, or waiting for a response. Today, I'm going to show you how these agents and Copilot are able to greatly improve the experience we provide to our clients. I'm actually back from a 2-week vacation, and I need to get up to speed. So, of course, I'm going to go ahead and ask Copilot to summarize the latest investment strategy updates for Northwind Traders that have happened in my absence. And so what Copilot is about to do is that it's going to look through all of the knowledge sources because it's grounded in my work IQ. So the answer is right here. It's very detailed and exactly what I wanted. Copilot knows me. It knows my work. It knows my organization. And it's even able to recommend, using agent recommendation, a particular and specific agent that already exists, the Northwind Traders agent. And if you're curious about all the agents you have access to, you can actually go ahead and click All Agents, and in the agent store, you can see all the agents you've installed, any built by Microsoft, by your organization, or third-party partners. You can also create one yourself in Agent Builder. And I'm going to show you just how easy it is to create an agent like the one we just saw. So I'll go ahead and click New Agent and just describe what I want this agent to do. For me, it's incredibly important that this agent is able to understand the latest updates from our client. It needs to be able to read from knowledge sources that we've put in, such as team sites and SharePoint updates. It seems like I'm having issues with the Wi-Fi, so I'm going to go ahead and switch tabs. So when it generates, you're going to see that this agent is able to create some conversation starters that are exactly the common use cases, and it allows me to add in knowledge sources that I would use. So I've been able to add compliance documents that have all the risks and assessments related to this client, and I've also added a specific folder, the North Wind Traders folder. Because it's really important that this agent is able to read from team sites, I've gone ahead to add the Teams chat that has a constant flow of communication from the entire team, as well as our weekly Teams meeting. Awesome. So when I switch over to the Configure tab, I can actually see very detailed instructions that the agent has generated. These instructions are based off of industry best practices, and they are optimized for M365 agents, complete with a purpose, step-by-step instructions, as well as specific interaction examples. And when I need this agent to only use the knowledge sources that I've specified, I can toggle this on, making sure that it doesn't use any of the model's knowledge. So if we've created this agent and we want to test it out, what we're going to see is that it's able to quickly generate a one-pager executive summary because we've made these agents more powerful. We've given them office skills that can create Word documents, that can create Excel files, and that can also create PowerPoint presentations. So searching over, I've asked this agent because I've had a meeting coming up that I need to have with my LT team, and it's given me this very detailed response, and it has also generated a document that I can click on and save and download. So my document is right here. It's taking its time, so I'm going to jump ahead to a document that I've already created. It has all those details because it's able to read from all these knowledge sources. And when I need to communicate with this agent, I still can. Opening up Copilot right here allows me to read through and select any agents that I have and add in any next steps that happen. I can search for where I want them in the document, I can copy and paste, and I can add it to the doc if I need to. What we've seen here is a secure, easy way to create these powerful agents that not only help you in your day-to-day job, in your daily workflows, but are able to generate great, powerful documents for you. With these new capabilities, we can't wait to see what you build. Thank you. Back to you, Bryan.
Nice job, Aghogho. Aghogho, that was an awesome demo. Nice job. So now remember I talked about 3 different patterns. Pattern 1 was AI as an assistant. The second is AI as a teammate. The third is AI as an operator. Next, I want to show you an example of an agent that acts like an AI teammate. So just this week at Ignite, we introduced a new agent that we call the Sales Development Agent. And it tackles a problem that every sales leader knows all too well, which is, how do I grow revenue faster than I grow costs? The Sales Development Agent solves that problem. You simply feed it leads, you train it for your organization, and then it goes to work. It qualifies those leads, matures them into opportunities, and then hands them off to your sales team to close. Let's see it in action.
Ready to grow revenue and supercharge your sales team's capacity? Meet the Sales Development Agent. an autonomous agent that acts like a teammate, researching, qualifying, and engaging leads around the clock to fuel your pipeline. Simply give it a list of leads, and the agent does the rest. It researches each prospect, crafts personalized outreach, and sparks real conversations. Your customers receive personalized messages and can engage in natural two-way dialogue, with automatic follow-ups so no lead is left behind. It scales outreach, updates CRM, and hands off qualified leads, freeing your sellers to focus on closing and connecting. How do you set it up? Add your agent from the agent store in just a few clicks. Onboard in minutes by sharing your sales playbooks, guidelines, and company knowledge. Lightning-fast setup gets deals moving forward. Test, refine, and align with company policies, building confidence every step of the way. Fully independent, yet collaborative, the agent is able to share insights, assist with reporting, and work side by side with sellers. Explore detailed activity logs for full transparency. Track business metrics and watch your pipeline grow. Includes Agent 365 and backed by Microsoft's enterprise-grade security and compliance, it safeguards your data and workflows end-to-end. Add Sales Development Agent from the Agent Store today to unlock your next level of growth.
Wow. So what you just saw is an agent that fundamentally revolutionizes the sales function as we know it. But still, what if you want to build your own sophisticated autonomous agent? That's where Dan Lewis comes in. Dan's got the answer for us, and he's going to go deeper on our agent building platform with Copilot Studio. Dan.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Lewis with Copilot Studio. So we all want to realize the potential of AI for ourselves, for our teams, and for our business. My team and I get to work on this problem every day, and we're creating the platform that makes this possible. So Bryan just went through the bottoms-up innovation that we've brought. With Copilot, everyone gets an AI assistant, and you can build your own agent. We also just saw the sales agent. Agents like that, where a department works with the IT team and rolls out a project that changes how the employees work and how the company operates, is where the top-down innovation begins. And this isn't unique to sales. HR, finance, operations, legal, different organizations around your company are looking for AI that can help themselves operate better as well. And so Copilot Studio powers these custom agents and custom agentic applications that you can build. So now I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to walk through some of the highlights in Copilot Studio, and then we're going to get a demo of our platform. All right. So first, we just launched agent evaluations. When building agents, a best practice is to start by setting up a set of evaluations. So what these are kind of ways you can describe what good looks like for your agent. Imagine you're building an agent that helps employees set up their benefits. You can look at all the questions that they typically ask your HR department. For example, in California, what are my dental benefits? And then you can define what a good answer looks like. Then you run this set of evaluations against the agent you've created, and you can see how it scores and make sure that it's ready to be released. And then if anything changes in the future, you'll know if there's any regression. So setting up evaluations is really critical for scaling and governing agents, and we built that directly into Copilot Studio. All right, so you have your eval set up. Now you want to start building the agent. You have to make some design decisions around how you're going to put this agent together. One of the most important is, what model do you want for this agent? Some models are better at writing or structured thinking or data analysis. Some are super fast. They can handle real-time chat really well. Some are a lot slower, but they can do much more complex reasoning and long-form tasks. Picking the right one is critical. And with Copilot Studio, we're making it easy to select from a range of different models. You can have all the models from OpenAI, Anthropic, or even build your own custom models and bring them in through Foundry. All right, so you've got the agent going, you've started to set up the right model, and now you want the agent to have some tools so that it can take actions and grab other information or go out and take the actions that you want. One of the things we built directly into Copilot Studio is agent to agent. It allows the agent that you create to go work with other agents. This sort of architecture is really useful when designing a system. You may want one agent to have access to certain databases or certain tools, and another agent to work directly with the end user. It creates a more private experience, it helps you govern the data, and makes the whole system more secure. With Copilot Studio, you can bring this all together and connect to any agent built inside of Microsoft, on Copilot Studio, on Foundry, or on third-party platforms. Copilot Studio also makes it easy to set up and connect with MCP servers. Unlike traditional APIs, with an MCP server, your agent can self-serve. It can look and see what tools are available, what information is available, and select the right things for the job. Similarly, there's a ton of data inside of Microsoft and in external applications that your company uses. With Copilot Studio, we make it really easy to connect to WorkIQ and get all the internal data from within your Microsoft experience, as well as over 1,000 different external connectors to bring everything together in one place. And if any of these, or if all of these options aren't working, we have computer using agents. So your agent can go navigate an external application or website and do the job directly. All these different options are built directly into Copilot Studio. They give you a ton of choice around how to build your agent and accomplish the task that you're working on. Okay, so now it's getting all set up, and you want to deploy the agent. We make that easy too. You can deploy virtually anywhere with Copilot Studio, and a bunch of these integrations are pre-configured. For example, you might want to deploy the agent in Teams, in M365 Copilot. You might want to connect it up to SharePoint or put it inside of a Power App that you've built, or even plug it into the D365 Contact Center. You may actually want to put it in your employee portal or for a customer-facing website. And we even support integrations with third-party platforms like Facebook, Twilio, WhatsApp, and many more. Many of these are just one-click setup, so it's really easy to deploy the agent that you built in Copilot Studio. Okay, so now you're going to build this agent, and then you're probably going to build a lot of other agents. We've talked to a lot of companies about how they imagine running this different setup of agents. And the things that we hear the most are around, how do I make sure that when I've built these all, I can actually drive adoption inside of my company and measure the performance? How do I make sure that I can understand the costs of running my agent program? And how do I build security and governance into this so I can tell what's happening over time? These are the number 1, 2, and 3 things we've been hearing, and so we've invested a lot in this. We expanded our analytics platform, so you can write natural language queries to get answers. You can track agent performance. You can monitor your credit usage, and you can understand the ROI of the agent program you built. For governance, we've improved our policy controls. We've added role-based access. We have audit logs. We have integration with Purview and Sentinel. And even for protection against agent-specific threats like prompt injection attacks, we've done a bunch of work behind the scenes to make sure the agents are secure. This week, we talked a lot about Agent 365, the control plane for agents. This takes governance of agents from in Copilot Studio to the next level. So if you built the agent in Copilot Studio, A365 offers a bunch of additional governance and management capabilities that integrate directly. You get a full inventory of all the agents built on Studio, Foundry, and other platforms. You can have sharing controls over these agents. You can set up policies for the connectors. You can manage the identity of the agent and access control to different systems. And you can set up zone environments, so different agents can handle different things in different parts of your organization. We've also connected with these A365 MCP servers, so your agent can take more actions and handle more tools. For example, it can schedule Teams meetings, draft Word documents, send emails in Outlook, and even update CRM records in Dynamics. With Studio and Agent 365, you can build these agents for scale. So let me give you a few examples of different companies and organizations that have used Copilot Studio to do this. One is Kantar, and they built an agent that examined 4,000 different documents and other artifacts to help the HR team formalize and document hundreds of HR policies. They did this in just a few weeks. ABN AMRO is another company. They built a chat agent, and this is both for customers and employees, and it now handles over 3 million conversations every year. And lastly, the city of Burlington set up a multi-agent solution to help citizens and office staff handle the permit application and approval process, and they set this up in just under 2 months. These are some real examples of how Copilot Studio has been used to create value for different organizations. And now, we're going to see Copilot Studio in action. Kendra, welcome to the stage.
So much, Dan. Hey, everybody. I am super excited to be here to show you all of the latest and greatest capabilities inside of Copilot Studio. And I might be a little biased, but I think it's going to be the coolest demo you're going to see all day. It is a long one, so buckle up. We're going on a journey. We're going to go through this demo in 3 parts. Now, the first part of the demo, we're going to start here in our new experience in our homepage. And right off the bat, you might notice that we've brought the ability to create agents and workflows right in the same experience, all powered by natural language. So I want to start out by creating an agent for my 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗶𝗸𝗁 investment advising team. And I want this agent to look over our customer portfolios every single day and compare it to both our investment philosophies as well as their preferences that they've set up for us. And then I want it to identify maybe where some additional attention might be necessary, flag that to us, and send us a robust email. And if I go ahead and drop into our new overview page, you're going to see some pretty awesome improvements. We now have the ability to give you suggestions of what to do next. This is going to make for a far more intuitive agent building experience for you, because no longer do you have to wonder, where do I start? What should I add? So you see here, it recommends a reoccurrence trigger for me because I said I wanted this daily. Ooh, I see here I have some 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 investment philosophy knowledge. I definitely want to add that because that's going to be critical for my team of advisors. And then I also see the send email tool. Well, since I want my agent to be able to send emails to my team, this one's probably a good one to add as well. And just like that, I have tools, I have knowledge, and I had to do really minimal effort here. The last thing I want to call out, and you heard it from Aghogho earlier, are our more robust instructions that are generated simply from the initial prompt that you gave it. And these instructions follow those industry best practices and standards. And so from here, I would need to go ahead and add some additional knowledge and some tools, right, to continue building this out. But luckily for you, I did a little bit of homework this morning, and I went ahead and refined this agent a little bit further. So let's move into part 2 of the demo. I want to point out a couple of things that I've added here. The first is the ability to pull in our client portfolio information by connecting to our wealth management system, which has all of our client records. The second things I've done is I've added a handful of different email templates so that when those emails are generated by my agent, they follow the 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 branding and the preferred format that we like to see in the emails. But one thing that I've added that is super cool is an MCP server. Now, this MCP pulls in real-time financial information from our data provider, Morningstar. And adding an MCP is incredibly easy. I can go ahead and select MCP, and I can choose from a number of pre-built MCPs that I could leverage or search for the MCP of my choice. Now, 2 other updates that I've made here relates to, first, the model. I went ahead and updated the model that's powering this agent. You now can select from the latest and greatest models from OpenAI or Anthropic. I went ahead and set this to Sonnet 4.5 because it does really well with structured reasoning and analysis tasks like I'm going to need here. And then the last thing I've done is I went ahead and set up that reoccurring trigger to review my client portfolios daily and identify anywhere where my team might need to take additional steps and work with them to potentially make modifications. So let's go ahead and test that trigger. And right off the bat, when I start testing this trigger, you're going to see another improvement that we made right here in the test pane. You now have chain of thought, so you're able to understand how the agent is parsing through the information that it's receiving, the decisions that it's making, and even doing some complex math to figure out the next best steps. alongside of this, on the left, you can still see the tools and the knowledge that this agent is leveraging. Now, in one of my client portfolios, I have a note that they would like to diversify their portfolio and potentially do this in emerging markets. And so I want to see what this agent thinks about that. So as this agent continues to run, you're going to see it compare the portfolio to the different market data. And if I were to let this agent run fully, it's going to provide me an outcome that looks like this. So it's going to give me a great summary showing me all about my client's portfolio and also letting me know some potential recommendations within these emerging markets. And if I flip over to the email where I tested this earlier, you can see the email that was generated for me, following that Edward Jones branding, the format that I gave it, and giving me a robust amount of information about where I could potentially improve or help my client improve. And you'll see here, it even goes as far as breaking down a couple of options that I can take with my client in order to improve these, right? Keep in mind here, this agent did not recommend any stocks. It simply flagged areas within my client portfolios where maybe one of my advisors wants to lean in a little bit more to make modifications. But what if I did want to also help my team automate starting those orders, whether it's purchasing or selling stock? I probably don't want to leave this into some, non-deterministic process. I probably want a step-by-step workflow that can help me here. And again, as you heard me say in the beginning, I can build workflows and agents all within Copilot Studio. So here is a flow that I built inside of Copilot Studio to help my advisors actually start those orders. And one super cool thing here, in order to actually build the approval note for this purchase, I'm leveraging a prompt here. And it's important to call out that these prompts are not only powerful, but they give you access to over 11,000 different models through Azure AI Foundry, so you can select the right one for you. I also have a multi-stage approval tool here, which helps to keep a clear audit trail of all of the different steps and processes and approval along the way, keeping humans firmly in the loop and, more importantly, firmly in the know of what's going on. So I'm going to jump back over, and I want to go ahead and run another test here. I'd like to get my client to buy about 5% in that emerging market space. And so what you're going to see here is it's not going to immediately kick off that workflow. It's actually going to do some pretty complex math to look at, okay, what is the best way for my client to do this? What makes the most sense based on their current portfolio holdings as well as the real-time market data that we receive from that MPC server? And once this completes, it's going to actually then kick off that start order automation flow, which is going to give me my approval that I set up in that multi-stage approval. And so right here in Teams, I see that approval, I see the trade order, I see a number of different details that myself as the advisor would need information and would need to be able to parse through to know, should I go ahead and reject or approve this order? I'm going to go ahead and approve it, and we're off to the races. Now, what if I wanted to go ahead and take us into the last stage of our demo, where we're making this agent even more powerful with our new multi-agent capabilities inside of Copilot Studio? So this is relatively the same agent. However, I've done something pretty awesome here. I've added a network of agents that this agent can work with in order to complete different tasks. And each of these connected agents is a specialist in their own area. And so I want to go ahead and compare that same client portfolio we were looking at earlier with my Edward Jones investment philosophies. And I want a full comprehensive breakdown of how they're doing, what's going well, where we could potentially improve. You'll see it kicks off the same process by pulling in that real-time data from our MCP server, but then it starts the magic. it starts to invoke another connected agent. And then you see here another agent and another agent. And they're working together to help me build this robust overview, which if I flip over to my email, where I tested this earlier, I see it put together this comprehensive review, again in my Edward Jones formatting that I gave it in the beginning, showing me all the information I need to know about the portfolio. And if I scroll down, this is super cool. It shows me where I'm aligned and where potentially I might want to take a second look. Again, helping my financial advisors be in the know so that they are better prepared to help our clients. Now, let's switch gears here and come back to those really powerful evals that Dan referenced earlier. So evals, as he mentioned, are critical when building your agent so that you know exactly how your agent is performing as you're making modifications. And setting up these evals, let me go ahead and sign in, gotta love that, is incredibly simple. And I hope you're sensing a theme here, right? Everything is easy at your fingertips and you can do it in a breeze. So you can generate these questions for you based on description and instructions of your agent. You can use production data or chat transcripts. And I've gone ahead and set up an evaluation and ran it earlier so that together we can go ahead and review how this agent is doing. So let's drill into this evaluation, and you'll see here for the most part, this agent is doing really well. However, there's an area here where some potential improvements could be made. Now, if I had all day to spend with you guys, I would then take this data and make modifications to the agent to further improve this. But I am definitely out of time. I'm getting the get off the stage from my boss back there. So I'm gonna end this demo by showing you some pretty cool things in analytics that we've added. You're able to see here, you can generate a summary of your analytics. You have those high-level KPIs. So at a glance, you know exactly how your agent is doing. And if I scroll down a little bit further, I also have our new themes area within our analytics. These are awesome. These aggregate the queries that your agent is receiving into these themes that you can then review to understand how is my agent performing or able to support these different queries. And then last but not least, the thing I want to highlight here is our billing details. By drilling into your billing information, you're able to understand exactly how your agent is consuming those Copilot credits. Now, all of these insights, and there's so much more within these pages, are critical to maintaining, managing, and improving your agents while it's out in production. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this demo. I am super excited to see what you guys build. Thank you. Pretty awesome. I'm excited to see what you guys can build inside of Copilot Studio with these features and so, so much more. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you, Kendra. That was an amazing and super, super comprehensive demo. All right, so next, we have the privilege of being joined by Greg Ulrich, the Chief Data and AI Officer of MasterCard. Greg, come on up.
Hey, thanks, Dave.
All right, welcome to Ignite.
Thank you for having me.
So why don't you take a second to introduce yourself, your AI journey, kind of your role at MasterCard.
Sure. Greg Ulrich, I'm the Chief AI and Data Officer at MasterCard. I've been there about a decade since the data analytics SaaS company that I was working at got acquired by MasterCard and their evolution of services and using data and AI to empower our customers. About a year and a half ago, we created an AI and data function centrally, basically a hub and spoke model, and my team is responsible for that hub. So centralizing everything around our data quality, data types, our data platform, data rights, as well as all the AI tooling that would go on top of it. So we centralized the governance, the centralized capabilities to enable the spokes or the businesses within our organization to innovate at speed, but also responsibly. And there are really sort of three areas that we think about when it comes to AI at MasterCard. One is, how do we empower our employee base and our company to operate effectively and productively? We use Copilot quite a bit there. The second is around how do we use AI to drive value for our customers and new solutions. We think about that around how we create more things around to make the ecosystem safer, how do we make it smarter, and how do we make it more personal. The third area is on innovation. How do we dedicate time and energy to where the puck is going and what could happen? What are the 10x opportunities that could come from AI? And things like agentic commerce that we're focused on there to make sure we're thinking about not just how we're doing things today, but what the opportunity could be for us tomorrow.
So you've been kind of on the frontier of this. You have about 18,000 employees using Copilot.
Yeah.
As you've rolled that out, what have you learned about setting that up, change management, governance, kind of what have you figured out as you built this?
Yeah, it's been a very successful journey for us, so I'm happy to share it. I'll talk about it in sort of 3 dimensions. What we're doing for our general employee base, so we have 18,000 people on Copilot, we have another 8,000 on GitHub Copilot, sort of how the advanced users there are using Copilot Studio more and more, and then finally how we've, as our sort of hub, have used it to build even more advanced functionality for the enterprise. On the general rollout of the 18,000 in GitHub Copilot, we sort of did a crawl, walk, run. We started with 300 people. We tried it out. This is 18 plus months ago. From that, we understood what employee groups were using it the most productively and most actively. And we rolled it out to about 10,000 people in particular job families. We mandated foundational training. We did it at the beginning, and we found the people that took it were using it much more aggressively than those that weren't. We then did role-specific training within those groups. We started tracking usage. So a year ago, of the 10,000, about 40% were using it regularly every single day in their life cycle. And we were trying to make sure that we understood sort of where there were opportunities to improve training. So now this year, and by the way, for people that weren't using it, they'd get one warning, then we take the license away and repurpose it to someone else. So we created sort of a forced scarcity, but that really generated adoption. So people that got the licenses took it seriously. Now we've doubled the number of people that have it. Instead of 40% using it every day, it's 85%. And that's come from even more training. We have communities within every business unit that has it that do gamification. They have champions that share best practices. We have a enterprise-wide AI enthusiast community of about 10,000 people that are constantly sharing how they're using it effectively every day. And it's sort of that change management program has been incredibly important to make sure people are taking advantage of it and using it day to day. Then we have people using Copilot Studio for specific tasks in their workflow. And we have over 700 agents that have been created in the last few months on that alone, which is improving operations. And then we've taken big swaths of our population where we think that there's a real opportunity to move things forward. Our consulting base, which is close to 4,000 people in our organization, is one. And we basically mapped out the entire workflow and are using Copilot to automate specific tasks. So we've loaded 45,000 documents into that from our history. So there's a knowledge management agent as part of that. We're integrating deep research into that, PowerPoint creation, analytic tools with text to SQL, basically mapping out their entire journey and building agents along the way that are all through one central portal through Copilot that they can access. And it's had a meaningful impact in how they've been able to drive productivity in that group and really create more time for them to work on the problems, to brainstorm and to work with people and taking away some of the, I guess you call it the toil of the job.
I really like the point you made around training is really critical, but also building a community around it. So it's not just somebody coming in and saying, do this, do this, do this, and then leaving. It's sort of everyone feels like they're part of making it successful within the company.
Yeah.
That's something that's really critical. We found that at Microsoft as well. So you mentioned agentic commerce earlier.
Yeah.
And you guys have built an agent called Agent Pay and maybe some others as well. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the more custom agent development work you've done and how you view it as being part of your business?
Yeah, so agentic commerce is particularly interesting for us. We think that there's going to be a natural translation of people using things like Copilot to do research, to find products, compare information, to wanting to transact in that flow. And we think that's going to be the case for all the AI agents that are out there. But the system isn't set up for that right now. It's another party in the system that we haven't had previously. We've spent decades building fraud tools that are trying to identify non-human actors and keep them out. And now we're trying to encourage non-human actors to make transactions, and we want to make sure we have the right security protocols, et cetera. So we're developing basically an ecosystem to enable this to happen, right? So it involves How do we authenticate and know agents? And we authenticate those. We're using AI to do that in many ways. So we know that an agent is reputable, known, there's a real consumer on the other side of it. We're using tokenization to make sure the transactions are safe and secure. We need to be able to capture the intent of the consumer, be able to share that with the merchant, share that with the AI agent, share that with the issuer to make sure everybody's on the same page. And also, how do we pass insights and data back and forth to enable a better interaction for the consumer and for the ecosystem in a safe, secure, and consented way. So all those involve basically agents and technology to enable this ecosystem to prosper with the same accountability, transparency, and security that we have in online commerce today.
Greg, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
All right, everybody. And with that, Bryan, why don't you come back up to stage? Bryan's going to help us wrap things up.
Nice job. All right, so it's awesome to see MasterCard's approach to agentic commerce and building agents and the adoption journey that they talked about. You know, no matter your project, agent building, it requires a flexible and powerful tech stack. Only Microsoft's got a stack for this agentic shift that spans intelligence, no code, low code, pro code, and then management and observability with Agent 365. But you know, all this I think points to something bigger. And the pace of change, it's not slowing down. If anything, it's speeding up. And what I know is that the longer you wait, the further you'll fall behind. Business leaders ask me this all the time. They say, what do I do now? Where should I start? And my answer is simple. It's pick one process to transform. Whether it's sales, whether it's IT or HR, start there. It's the first step to the frontier. After all, the difference between a frontier firm and everybody else, it's not about ideas. It's about execution. So thank you all for your time today. It was great to have you, and I can't wait to see you at the frontier.
Thank you for joining us today. If you'd like to dive deeper, on screen now are a few sessions where you can learn more.